everybody. Thanks for joining. My name's Adam Stone. I'm a real estate attorney. I've been practicing real estate and business attorney. I've been practicing for about 8 years. Also a licensed real estate broker. Work with Matt Williams, who you'll meet in 1 second if you haven't met him before. And we own the company Home Free Consultants. So what we do is help property owners in distressed situations. We like to help them in one of three ways usually. As an attorney, I can help them with legal situations if they have a tenant issue, code violation, any type of legal issue dealing with their property. We can help them there. Go ahead, Matt. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Williams. Again, I'm the second part of Adam Stone's, but we got Home Free Consultants. Basically, what I do is the construction side of it, right? So, once we get to the part where we start fixing the house, adding in square footage, things like that, doing any kind of repairs to the home, it comes on our side. On my side of the ballpark, but again, we're all on the same team. We're all making this work. And hopefully, in the near future, this thing's gonna take off with the vision we have.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. And with us are Kenny Martey and Josh Udeh. Guys, how about you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little about yourselves?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys, for having us and inviting us onto the webinar. Um, Not much of an introduction. I'm born and raised here in San Diego. I went to school in Oklahoma. I got a bachelor's degree in marketing from Southwestern Oklahoma State. Played football out there. Graduated in 2017 and came back, and I've been doing real estate ever since as a wholesaler. And so the last 3 years has been a lot of learning. I'm far from the expert, but I think I know what I'm doing, and I'm looking to build with you guys, and excited to build with you guys.
Thanks, Kenny.
Okay. So I'm Josh Udeh. Um, I've been into wholesaling for a couple years now, just studying the art of it. I'm a natural entrepreneur, by birth. I've been selling candy ever since elementary school. So I've always been looking for the profit margins and what's good business. So when I came out to real estate and just learning about different strategies of going at real estate wholesaling, just kind of stuck with me. So I've been studying that for about 2 to 3 years, and me and Kenny created a platform called Win-Win Solutions, and we're just giving the people just the platform to really start in the game and get some information. So thank you to Adam and Matt for inviting us on this platform, just so we could talk to more people and extend that opportunity out.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. And let's get right into it. So today we are going to talk about wholesaling. Break down what it is, the basics. Josh and Kenny are going to talk about their day to day as wholesalers, active wholesalers in the markets that they work. And Matt's going to talk about how he handles the backside of that. Wholesalers are always looking for that end buyer, and Matt has a lot of experience as that end buyer and what he looks for as a potential buyer on deals that wholesalers bring to him. So we'll talk about that and give you some of the basics, some of the things to watch out for. But let's get right into it in terms of what is wholesaling. And wholesaling, just from a legal perspective, is generally when somebody goes to a seller, gets a purchase agreement. They have an agreement to buy the property that they're negotiating, and then at the same time they agree to sell the property, assign their rights under the purchase agreement to an end buyer. Typically, they are the principal in both deals. So that's why wholesalers aren't licensed agents usually, and they don't need licensed agents because they are the buyer and the seller in the deal. So it's a contract situation where they're assigning their rights as the buyer in one situation, but then working as the seller in the other situation, which opens up what's called a double escrow. And I'm sure Josh and Kenny will talk more about that for when you're handling a deal in that situation, when you're trying to basically have both sides of the deal close at the same time. So the idea behind wholesaling gives people the opportunity, when they do it right, to have low risk and little to no cost up front. To do that, you typically need to have your contract give you a time to have a contingency period, a long enough escrow for you to take your purchase agreement and find an end buyer if you don't have one already lined up. That also means that any earnest money deposit, security deposit to purchase the property, you're going to want to have that as refundable. Having it as non-refundable puts you in a very tough situation, puts you in a spot where if you can't find a buyer, then you're coming out of pocket for that loss. So typically the contracts that I help people negotiate for wholesaling deals, they have a refundable earnest money deposit. They have a long enough escrow period, usually 45 to 90 days, to allow them to find an end buyer for that situation. And as the seller gets a lot of a benefit out of it because they're able to get out of a situation that, they're in a distressed property situation. So they may have mortgage payments, or they may have tenants that aren't paying, that, they don't want to go through the process of eviction, or a lot of other things that can come up to allow somebody to want to sell. So on that note, Josh, Kenny, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you experience on the day-to-day, what the process is like for you to prospect and find deals.
Yeah, Josh, you mind if I go first? So when it comes to wholesaling, the most important thing, the biggest thing you want to focus on first is finding a distressed seller. And you want to know what kind of distressed sellers that you want to target, that you want to market to, that you want to pursue. And so I have a general 7 different distressed sellers that I like to focus on. The first one is going to be a probate situation. That's when a house is passed down from a deceased family member, maybe a grandmother or a mother or a father. Anyone in the family may have passed, and now they are passing it and putting it into another family member's name. Typically, this family member has their own situation going on. Maybe they have their own life, or they maybe live in a different part of the country. So this allows the opportunity this allows the opportunity for the investor to get this house at a great price. So that's a probate. That's what you would call a probate situation, and those can be a very very profitable. The next thing I look at are just distressed homes that are either beat up or they're outdated and they need an uplift in order to be able to sell at top dollar on the market. Those are the most general homes that you might look for. And then you go to the struggling investor. And Adam, you kind of mentioned the struggling investor, somebody that may have, and this is what me and Josh are kind of working on for like the last couple of weeks as far as our day-to-day goes. We've been looking to target the struggling investor. On our platform, we're able to filter what we're looking for. So me and Josh have been filtering. Things that we'll put in our filter are somebody that lives out of state, a home that is vacant, a home that is not owner occupied. So those three things kind of tell you that this might be a struggling investor that may live out of state, may not be living in the home, and doesn't have a tenant in the home either. So that means that this home is no more a liability, not more an asset, but more of a liability. So those are things that we've been targeting on a day-to-day. And then we also target retired investors as well. And there's a way for you to filter those things on the platform that we have as well. So that's my biggest thing. Starting out my day is looking for and focusing on which type of distressed seller I'm gonna pursue. Josh, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. Basically, you cover the basics of what we go about when we're looking for houses, wholesaling. And as Adam said before, he kind of said it all with we're really just trying to find contracts, right? So we're trying to get people who may have a bad situation, a situation where they may need help, a distressed situation. And us as wholesalers, we like to call ourselves solution makers. So we're coming in to bring solutions to maybe a troubled problem where, we could have a win-win solution where we could give, the seller, the motivated seller, which is the one in a distressed situation, get them some money in their pocket, and then we could get some money in our pocket, and then the end buyer can have a good property that he could hopefully flip and, get it on the market at top market value. So,
Okay. No, I was going to say that. I was going to add that. That's a great point as far as being a problem solver. And when you are pursuing these leads and looking to help people, I always say that it's best to really be genuine in that effort and really look to solve that problem for the homeowner. And 10 times out of 10, when you approach it with that mindset of looking to help somebody that's in a distress situation, It usually creates a win-win situation. I didn't mean to cut you off, Josh.
Yeah, no, definitely a good point. My alma mater, Alabama A&M, my founder, Hooper Council, he taught that service is sovereignty, right? So we're actually providing a service to these people, being wholesalers. We're providing a service that can help them get out of their situations. And some people, like one of my main focuses is dealing with an owner that isn't in state. Because usually when he's not in state, maybe he inherited, like Kenny was saying before, via probate, or he just had to move for some reason, and now he has this property that he may be paying taxes on, a mortgage on, and he's not even using it. And that happens a lot. And I'm gonna actually use a real situation that I dealt with in Chicago. It was actually a home in Chicago. It was a 7 bedroom, 3 bathroom. So it was a pretty large home, possible multifamily home. It was in a situation where the owner died, so her sister was in the will to inherit the house. So her sister had the house, but her sister was trying to get her sister's children to take over the house, and the children didn't want to take over that responsibility. They had family of their own, and they just didn't want to go through the headache of dealing with mama's house. So now this house is sitting on the market, 7 bedroom, three bathroom, a pretty big house, possible multifamily, a great residual revenue maker, just sitting on the market vacant for 3 years, right? So now this lady is like, what do I do with this home? So she's like a perfect situation where she's dealing with a distress situation, a problem that maybe on her neck, and I could come in as a solution maker and offer her something there. So that's something that's still in the works now. So that's just a simple example, but it's a lot of situations like that right now in the market. So being wholesalers, we're going out trying to find solutions to these situations, these distress situations, and we use our platform to find us leads. So that's why we started Win-Win Solutions and started talking to other people and trying to get them on our team. So now we can all attack and bring some relief to these problems happening worldwide.
Right. And that's a great example, Josh. I mean, finding that mutually beneficial resolution for everybody to gain, like you guys are saying, win-win solutions for everybody. That's the key. So, before we bring Matt back in to talk about, after getting the deal done and what happens after that stage, talk to us more about what you do to set up the deal, get the pricing, figure out what makes sense for everybody to set up that win-win solution.
Yeah. Me and Josh, there's a lot of different ways to kind of going about executing a deal from point A to point Z. I'll kind of go through what I exactly do, and then I'm sure that might differ from you, Josh, and from what other people on this call may do. But what I'll do is, on our platform, on our search engine, I'll put those filters in um in the search criteria that I mentioned earlier. For the last couple of weeks, I've been focusing on struggling investors. I will put in a non-owner occupied home, a vacant home, and obviously a home that has high equity as well. And so I'll put that, and maybe there might be a couple of other things that I may be missing, but I'll put that into my search criteria, and then a couple of hundred of different homes will pop up. From there, I'll click into each property, and on our platform, there's a lot of different facts and figures that can kind of tell you if this is a good deal or a bad deal. But I like to cross-reference with Zillow because I'm more of a visual learner. On our platform, there's a lot of facts and figures, and obviously there's a lot there as well. But in order to the best way to get through these hundreds of properties that have just came up into my search, the best way for me is to cross-reference it with Zillow, like I said. So I'll copy and paste the property, put it in Zillow, and when I search it in Zillow, I'll look at the neighborhood. I'll kind of press the minus mark on the my magnifying glass in the bottom right, and I'll just look specifically at the neighborhood. And then in Zillow, obviously, they have filters as well. Now, you need to be careful with what you pay attention to in Zillow because Zestimates, I'm sure you guys may have heard, are very inaccurate. Strictly, all I'm doing is looking at the last 12 months as far as the homes that were sold in that neighborhood. So that's one of the filters I'll put into Zillow, homes sold in the last 12 months, or 6 months if I need to get more detailed. But once I do that, I'm looking for homes that sold in that neighborhood that match pretty close. I'm trying to get to as close to the subject property that I'm looking at. If I'm looking at a 3-2 home, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom home, 1,500 square feet, I want to see similar homes in that neighborhood selling, or around something like that. And so, if there's absolutely nothing selling in that neighborhood, then I know quickly that it is not a deal, because remember, the ultimate goal is to flip this contract, this purchase and sale agreement, to an end buyer. And an end buyer is not going to take on a project that does not have any activity in the neighborhood. So if I copy and paste that address and put it in Zillow and nothing's selling, I know it's not a deal, because I'm not going to be able to get it to an end buyer. However, if there is 4 or 5 homes selling in the last year in that neighborhood, I know I'm onto something. From there, I need to make sure that it's specific to or close to my subject property. And then once I do that, and make sure that it's a deal, um, obviously, I wouldn't have clicked on the home if it didn't fit my criteria as far as one of the distressed situations that I'm looking at. From right there, that's pretty much all I need to know, that it's a possible deal. So I will save that property and go through that however long that list is, and then I'll skip trace those properties. Once I skip trace those properties, all on our search engine, by the way, I will then pursue those leads. And once I get them on the phone, I take them through. I don't really have a script. It's more of a conversation that I like to have with the seller. I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to understand where they're coming from and how I can help them. Which is not, that's my kind of problem with scripts. There's not a specific way to do it. You need to just be able to connect with the person personally. Obviously, I have bullet points and things that I want to hit on the conversation, um, but that's kind of how I go about that. And then obviously getting to, and obviously in my questions I'm asking about, I'm trying to gauge how much money is going to be needed to bring this home back to life. And obviously that's going to be something I factor into my offer to the seller, and then my offer that I'm going to get to the buyer. So I'm asking all these questions, and then ultimately you want to meet at the house and get that purchase and sale agreement signed, so that you can ultimately flip that to an end buyer. Sorry if that was a little bit long-winded, but that's pretty much my process on a day-to-day basis, and that's kind of how I go about my business.
No, I appreciate you being thorough and giving some detail. It sounds like you really focus on getting those comparable properties and
Yeah,
and
comps are big.
focusing on that as the way to figure out what the fair value could be for a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, what do you think? You have anything to add to that?
Yeah. I'll make it quick because Kenny kind of covered a lot of the space that
Mm.
that we use already. But it's really me. I'm a numbers guy, so what I like to do is I like to go through lists. I like to eat lists up. So I'll just type in a specific address and just go house to house to house and see what's being offered on the market. And then now I know my average. I know what's high. I know what's low. I know what's medium. And then I gun for the lowest targets, because most likely those are situations that maybe need to be
Address health.
alleviated, right, or help. So that's basically what I look for and I target, and then I try to get people on the phone, because it's nothing like hearing a person's voice and understanding, like, I'm really trying to help you here. I have your best intentions in mind. Once you get to that point, you want to make sure you know your comps. Kenneth is a little more thorough than I am on this one. I just like to really look at the data, but it's always best to cross-reference to look at the comps in that area, so you actually have some numbers in your head. Because when you get to the actual seller to actually check if he's motivated, you want to make sure he's not giving you a false number. So you want to make sure you keep him grounded and let him know, okay, well, the house next door sold for about $20,000 less than what you're bringing to the table. So it's just not plausible. So you want to have the information on what's going on around that neighborhood. So once you get into that conversation, you're well informed and you could dictate that conversation. So that's kind of how I go about it.
Okay. That makes good. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to make sure you know what the numbers are and what the market's saying, because once you get that under contract, then that's the key to what your margin is if you can't sell it for a good enough price on the other end. Matt, being the other end usually in terms of the end buyer and somebody that typically buys properties from wholesalers and develops them, rehabs them, what are the things that you look for when dealing with the wholesaler?
I think price. I mean, let's be realistic. It's going to be pricing, right? At the end of the day, if the price isn't right, you can't do the deal. So at the end of the day, you really start with the pricing. You really start with what are they offering, right? And then is it going to be a beneficial to your bottom line, right? So every time I've dealt with a wholesaler, you kind of look at, I'll play like this. What you don't do is look at what they got the house for, right? So the one problem I've noticed with other people that invest is that they're worrying about somebody else's pockets, right? I don't care if the wholesaler picked the house up for $100,000, $200,000. If I can make the profit that I'm trying to make off of this house, it's a good deal for me, right? So I think you always have to look in that space. I think a lot of people are like worry too much about what everybody else is doing and don't worry about their own understanding their own mission. So
That's
I
the
would
best
always
end
say,
buyer.
yeah,
That's the best
exactly.
end buyer for you.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? I mean, I've literally had a guy jump out of a deal that we were doing because the wholesaler was making $100,000, and at the end of the deal, he was going to make 60, and he was like, "I'm not in it." I'm like, $60,000 for 3 months. What are we talking about? That's great money. Yeah. So I took the deal on myself. No worries. But so from my perspective, what I would say is, especially in San Diego, right? So let's talk about San Diego for a quick second, because I think a lot of people on the lines from San Diego. If there's anybody from the line from a different city, chime in. We could talk about different cities and go from there. But I'll just kind of use San Diego as a reference point, right? So in San Diego, with the housing laws and the laws that they're doing now with ADUs and micro units, it's really the wild west. If you don't know, a lot of people right now are just going in and putting lipstick on these houses and just putting them right back on the market. And at the end of the day, they're trying to get in as cheap as possible. That is going to be a reason why a company or a situation like us can really get in and take over, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people don't see the added value, right? So a house there's a house right now that me and Adam's looking at, they want 339, has a decent backyard. We might be able to do an ADU on the back of it. Somebody might go in and say, well, man, I'm out from 350. We might come in and say 365, because we know if we get the house, it's already big enough. It's 890 something square feet. I know for a fact that we can take that 2-1, which is two bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and immediately turn it into a 3-2, right? Because the size is there. If we got to take down some walls, redo a couple things, doesn't make a difference, right? So we know we can go into a 3-2, and now we also know that we can put an ADU unit in the back. So knowing that, I don't look at the comps and say, okay, what is a 2-1? What would a 2-1 be if I fixed it up? Because that would only, that 360 or 350 might only be 405, 415, 420 maybe. I'm looking at it as, hey, when we get done with it as a 3-2, it might be worth 6. So the numbers are drastically different when you're able to look at a piece of property and truly assess it and truly be able to get the value out of it. And that's what we kind of will bring to that table, is that a lot of people when you're wholesaling go, oh man, this might not be a deal. Well, to us, it might be a great deal, because at the end of the day, the yard is big. We can add in the back. We can make the unit bigger. We can add multi-units. It has a garage, right? So that's another part that people don't think about. If you got a small house but it has a garage, that's a master bedroom. That's a studio, and that's $100,000 more in property value. So 50 to 100. Let's be realistic. It could be anywhere from 50 to about 100. Sometime more if you're in the right neighborhood. But these are the things that we got to look at, and you got to understand. These are things that are going to put you over the hump, right? To say, hey, I'm cold calling, I'm doing these things, and I know what Matt's looking for. I know what a true builder, a true flipper is going to see in this, and you'll know how to approach it. You'll know how to say, okay, well, this still might be a deal for me. This still might be something I can close, and we can, and we'll start there. I'm going to go into the flipping side of it a little bit more, but I kind of want to talk about, or Adam talk about what he brings to the table for anybody that joins you guys' team and our team with cold calling, right? So Adam, if you could just do us a favor and kind of just walk through services, the understanding of, hey, you guys have a great source if you're with us.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. So, what we do, and kind of what Matt was breaking down, we want to provide an avenue more than an end buyer, but more structure and support to the wholesaling market and people who are out there working the deals, getting contacts, and making those connections. There's a lot of questions that can come up along the way. One of those questions, is an easy one for me after doing this for so long, is trying to figure out what the zoning is and what the property allows. Because, like Matt was saying, we really want to look at the ways to maximize the property. And obviously that's going to take some time. It's going to take some money to get there. But if we know what the maximum potential, the upside for the property is, it gives us more wiggle room to negotiate with wholesalers, because now you can say, here's what the real value of the property is, here's what the potential is if you have the ability to do that. So, one of the biggest keys is to know about the zoning, and we would be able to look up the zoning for you, go through the zoning aspects that, Matt mentioned with the ADU laws, the accessory dwelling units, the micro unit laws. Those are also new to San Diego and California generally, and then the zoning laws in general for residential multifamily versus residential single family and commercial mixed use. So with residential multifamily, even with some residential single family designations, we're able to add more properties, more units on smaller lots. And they allow us to have that ability to add in, a duplex, turn a duplex into a triplex. Maybe, for example, with one of our projects now, the lot allows for a quad to be put in the backyard. So with that, obviously having the ability to rehab the home, add an accessory dwelling unit to the home, that does enough to add value. But then to add another multifamily unit in the backyard, that really gives the upside that we're looking for those deals. So, really quickly, I'm going to share my screen and just show you guys one type of tool that we use in the city of San Diego to find these deals. So this is a public resource. This is with the city of San Diego. And what this is their zoning map, but in an automated format where you can do research for what your property's zoning potential is. So we'll just use an example. One of the projects that Matt and I are working on right now, it's in San Diego, 3706 Florence Street.
And while you're doing that,
Sure.
it has to be said how big this law that passed is, and how big the service that you guys are offering is. Because, man, I can tell you a handful of times that I had to turn away from the deal because the seller wanted 10,000 more than my max allowable offer. And in a situation like this, I might be able to give her that extra 10,000 because obviously, um, with the value add, you're going to still see a substantial profit. So this is something that definitely changes the game.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right, Kenny. And what we're talking about is giving everybody a little bit more cushion to work with,
Yeah, a
because
little more
if you're looking at potential downturn in the market, when you have the ability to add another unit to that property right away, you're putting in a huge buffer for somebody who's coming in as an investor or as a potential long-term buyer, whether they're an investor or they want to have it for their own owner occupied personal use, to have another income stream on the property. That does do a lot for your ability to own that property and cash flow on it. So looking at this zoning, we pulled up for 3706. It'll give you the accessor's parcel number. And this is, important to just identify the property going forward. Scrolling down a little bit gives you more information about the property. It tells you that it is in a promise zone. I'll talk more about that in 1 second. And then it gives you the zoning designation, RM-1-1. Now, the RM designation is residential multifamily, and that's an important designation because those allow for people to add more units on the property generally. And, compared to a property that might be, you see right here, the RS-1-7, that's still a higher side of the residential single family designations, but it doesn't have the same flexibility for multi-units as the RM-1-1. So, when we're looking at that from an investor's perspective, as an attorney perspective, trying to give an analysis in terms of what this property can do, what the upside is. Seeing this designation gives us a flag, right? Or turns on a light bulb immediately to say, hey, this has potential here. If it has a larger lot, if it has, if you look in the community, you can tell usually just going through the neighborhood to tell what else is there, what generally is allowed. If you go in this neighborhood, you'll see other quad, fourplex units on properties with houses. So, again, that gives you an indication that this could potentially have that high upside value. So, knowing the zoning, knowing about other things like the promise zones. The promise zones are a lot like the opportunity zones. For those that don't know, it's a new tax benefit that was created in 2018, I believe, and put in play in 2019, where people who have properties in that area, in those zones, and develop those properties and hold them for a 10-year period, they're able to get a tax credit against whatever their gains are for that property. So, for an investor, again, that's a huge benefit if you're looking at a long-term buy and hold situation where they want to have, whether it's a multi-unit apartment complex or something along those lines, they can own that property, hold it for 10 years, and then not have a gain on their taxes at that point, or not have a tax on their gain when they go ahead and sell that property down the line. So, these are the things that if you bring me a property, bring Matt and I a property, we're willing to go through it with you, help you through the process of analyzing what it is and what the potential is. And then on top of that, if you're negotiating a deal with the seller or negotiating a deal with the seller's representative in a probate situation, we can help you with that as well, and walk you through some of the contractual issues that come up along the way to make sure it's a smooth process, and you have little or no risk involved throughout the whole ordeal. So we're here as a resource, and we definitely see this as a mutually beneficial situation. I know I keep saying that, but everybody can win here. Win-win solutions. It does have that potential when we're all working together and we're using the laws and the regulations that are there the right way to make this work.
I love it. I love it. That's good. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, that definitely changes the game. And to kind of get back to our platform, speaking and working with Matt and Adam for about the last couple of weeks, that's another thing that we added to our search criteria that we've been working on as well. Me personally, how I started kind of looking and vetting for things that would possibly work for a situation like this is I'll put a 2-1 in that filter. I'll put at least a 4,800 square foot lot in the filter. I know you guys mentioned something closer to 5,000 square feet, but you don't want to miss something just because of 100 or 200 square feet short of that perfect mark. So I'll put in, I'll even put in 4,700 square feet in that filter, and I'll go through that same process that I mentioned earlier on our platform, on our search engine. A lot of that stuff will be there. You'll be able to see what the zoning, what it's zoned for. You'll be able to see the lot size and that type of thing. And again, I'll take that property, put it in Zillow. For a situation like this, you don't really need comparables for you do. You're always going to need comparables for your end buyer, but in a situation like this, your comparables are going to be more important to let you know the market in that neighborhood and to let you know what you need to be offering the seller as well. Just because there's a huge opportunity for for a value add, that doesn't mean you can just offer them, hey, $100,000 or $50,000 above market value, just because that there's going to be extra money to be made because of the value add situation you guys are presenting. You still need to offer the seller a realistic number. So I'll still put it in Zillow and find my comps and find my evaluation and my numbers and all that good stuff. And that's kind of what we've been working on. And I can't wait to meet back with you guys and bring you guys something that maybe we could move forward with.
That sounds good. And as we wrap, Matt, how about you kind of give us a quick rundown for everybody of the criteria, the types of properties that we're looking for right now. If anybody's coming across them as they're starting to work with Josh and Kenny, they have anything that they come across that they can bring to us that we're really looking for these days.
Look, I would say this, right? If it's in an opportunity zone, if it has a big lot, you can bring anything to us. Let's be clear though. I'm not shying away from any properties. We'll take them all. But again, we are going to prioritize with the value add, right? So the bigger the lot, the more the way it's zoned, right? So at the end of the day, even with you guys saying 4,800, right? So I know we said that, but let's be realistic. There are some properties that are zoned for one unit and a granny flat every 1,500 square feet. So the zoning laws are crazy. San Diego is one of these places that you got to remember, right? So it's not even just about anymore about building out. We can go upstairs, right? So I mean, a lot of these properties, the height limit on some of these buildings are 30 feet. We can get a second story in there. So I mean, understand that some of these properties we're not looking at just going, out and digging, going into the backyard. We'll go upstairs. So there's a lot of opportunity in a lot of these properties, and there's not a lot of properties available right now. So at the end of the day, I would say right now is a perfect time. What I would say for what we kind of missed on the call, or what we kind of need to backtrack on a little bit is when you do look at properties that are value add, that you're going to do value add, the average investor, and this is just inside for us, right? Understand this: the average investor doesn't care, right? They're not going to give you that added, hey, I'll give you 10 more thousand because it's a value add. If you understand that, you can market that, you can kind of push it, but the average investor does not care about that. They're going to give you what the house is worth as it is, right? So understand that when you come to us, it's a little different because we're a little bit more fair. We're going to be a little bit more understanding of the property because we're all building as a family, as a team. But the average investor, if you bring them a 2-1 and say, hey, you could turn this into a 3-2, they're going to be like, that's none of your business. You're selling me the property as a 3-2. So don't worry about what I'm going to do with it once I get it. You know what I mean? Like you can't count that. Again, that's technically counting somebody's pockets. With us, it's a little different because we're open. We're gonna hopefully all build. We're hopefully gonna all make a ton of money. So we're a little bit more open to kind of give you guys the insight of what we're gonna do. And this is a lot of things that what you're learning here is that most investors don't want to tell you. Most flippers are not going to want to give you this information because this is really giving you the game, right? This is kind of giving up a little much. They might, this is the 2-1s with the big, if I can catch a 2-1 that's 1,300 square feet, 1,400 square feet, and a guy doesn't know what he has, but he just knows it's a 2-1, and he sells it to me for 330. I stole a deal. To me, that's a steal, right? So you guys got to understand that, like, okay, hey, just because it's a 2-1, look at the size. Maybe look for the right investor. Maybe look for the right person. Maybe contact us and say, hey, this is how we can work it, and this is how we can help it. Before I get into that again, I'm just gonna shoot back to one more thing on Adam. With our services, right? So with when you're dealing with win-win, or whoever you're with, or however we're gonna do this, always know that you do have us in the back pocket, right? So any of your deals, if you're cold calling, if you're doing any investing, you can always reach out to us, right? And at the end of the day, a big part of this is when the deal's about to be dead, when you feel like, hey, you know what, this might not go all the way through, you can always reach back and say, hey, you know what, we do have a special service where we have an attorney. Would you mind speaking to an attorney? Do you mind having a free consultation? And that could be your lifeline, right? So don't ever forget that. Don't ever don't ever leave that out, because that might be something that'll save you the deal and end up winning you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in this, or 5,000, or whatever it is. But that might be the kicker that does it. So before I kind of walk through what we got going on, that's something that you should always keep in your back pocket.
Yeah, that's great, Matt. Can I come in real quick and say something about that?
Yes, sir.
To everybody that's on, the Win-Win Solutions platform and ready to get to these lists, because I handed out some lists these last couple of days, and Matt and Adam right now is giving out pure game, and that's just something that you guys could use on the calls. Make sure you're vetting them and understanding exactly, if they're motivated. That's huge to see what do they want to do with the property. and then understand everything about the property. So understand how big the property size is, how big the lot size is, because all of that goes into the value of selling the property. That's something that you have in your mind when you're talking to these sellers, and that's what you have in your mind to see if they're motivated. That's what you have in your mind to see what prices you set. You know what average price that you want to get. So yeah, Matt and Adam's giving out good game right now about how you could go about your cold calling. I know I sent you guys some links to watch over, but right now this is live and in person. So this is something that you can use today, tomorrow, or whenever you get to it. So I'll let you get it, Adam.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I mean, like Matt said, we're here as a resource, and we want to provide that extra level of support to every side of it. And, I think sometimes you run into a situation where people need to know what their options are, need to know what the situation is. And, if they don't, I always think about what's the most likely alternative if you don't get a deal done, what's the worst case scenario, what's the best case scenario. And if you lay that out for people, and if they're really in a situation where they need a resolution, they're in a distressed situation, then typically what we're looking to put together is going to be one of the best case scenarios for that situation. So just if you have questions, you can lean on Josh as he's talking to everybody on his platform, but Matt and I are always here as well to provide any type of help and consultation we can to help you through your deals.
Appreciate that. We definitely appreciate you guys for offering your services.
Mm-hmm. That lifeline can be big on a cold call. You never know which way the conversation may go, and just offering that, hey, we really are here to help, and we do have a real estate attorney that can really walk you through some of the options that you're looking at. Telling me that'll go a long way on any cold call that you make.
Yeah, definitely. So before we start to get into some questions, I'm sure people have questions, as we get closer to the end of the event. Matt, did you want to go over, some of the deals that we're looking at right now? I know we've kind of gone over it just here and there, what the criteria is and different locations, but if there's anything else before we get into the questions?
Yeah, so I'll walk through a couple of our deals. So right now we have a couple of deals on the market in San Diego. I won't talk about the ones in anywhere else, but the ones in San Diego, again, we'll go over Florence. Florence is I bought it as a 2-1, had a garage, paid $375 or $385 for it. Our plan is on 9,000 square feet. Our plan for that is it's already being converted into a 3-2, which is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. We're also converting the garage into a 2-1. So the garage will have 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. That is going to be the first start of the unit. So the first start of the project. So what will happen in this project is we've already begun the first part. So we've cleared everything out. We've cleaned out the backyard. We've gutted out the house, and we've set the permits, right? So once we set the permits out, the next part of this goal is to then wait for permits to come back. Once the permits are come back and they've been approved, then we'll have a person from the city come out. They'll look at the house. They'll say, "Hey, it looks good to go. Go ahead and keep moving forward." And we'll then complete the 3-2 with the 2-1. After that is done, we will then refinance that property and get 2 renters in there, right? So on that 3-2, we're looking at probably somewhere around 3,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And then that 2-1, we're looking at probably about 22, 23. We'll then refinance. We'll then push to the back. The back of the property is zoned it's zoned for 1 unit and an ADU every 3,000 square feet. It's 9,000 square feet, so technically you can do a quad in the back. Our goal was to do a quad at first, but me and Adam started talking. We got to putting our brains together, and the goal is micro units, right? So there's a couple ways we're going to do this. We're either going to do container homes and put down maybe 3 to 4 container homes per unit. So think about this, right? So if they come back and says, hey, we can do 1,000 square feet per unit, so we can do 4,000 square feet in the backyard. Our goal is to say, let's take 3 container homes or 3 container homes and smash them together, which they're already together. They'll come within a month. They'll come within a month. We can have doors put on them so they all interlock. So think about it. It'll be 3 studios that interlock. When we go to put the permit in, those permits, they don't care if that unit has 50 doors, 50 toilets, 50 stoves. It doesn't make a difference. If we're counting that 3 units as one unit. So when we go to get that permit, they'll go, okay, we'll come in, we'll look at it, we'll make sure it's permanent, we'll grant it. Once they grant that permit, we just lock those doors, and now we have 3 different units, right? So you have 3 units per 4 of them. So that gives us 12 units, right? So now you're saying you got 12 doors in the backyard, and now you have 2 doors up front. So each one of those units probably will rent anywhere from between, worst case 9, best case 12. So now you have 12, say $900 units a month plus what we got in the front. The cap rate on that is enormous, right? That now we're talking about a property that's worth maybe $2 million, maybe 1.5, and we're going to probably be all in at $1 million, right? So this is really how you start to create wealth. The next property we have is Landis. Landis we bought for $360. It's a 2-1 also. We're pulling it to a 3-2. It has a garage. It's in the university area off of the 15, like you're going towards the stadium. That property, again, once it's redone, we're going to take the garage, we're going to make it a studio. We're going to take the house and go from a 2-1 to a 3-2. It'll go from about 3. We paid for $360. It'll probably end up around $615. Right, that's one of our smaller deals. We have another property on Superior back in the 92113 area. This is already 2 houses, so it's already 2 permanent houses on the property with the garage. So our job there is to take that property, redo it, right? So this is going to be pretty much a lipstick. We're going to go through, redo both properties, maybe do a permit to take that garage and build it out into a studio. So now we're looking at 3 properties all together. One will have 12 to 14, 12 to 16 doors. One will have 3 doors. One will have 2 doors. But in all cases, we're getting these properties in the 3s and 4s, and we're immediately creating value to push them into the lowest one's going to be about $650. The highest one we're going to look at in the millions. Superior, when we get done with it, it'll probably go for around 8. And we're getting it for $450. We're probably going to put about 50, 60 into it. So understand this is how we're going to move forward. This is how we're going to create value, and this is how you build wealth moving forward. So a lot of times people ask, how do they get in? Me and Adam at this point we are pulling in investors. We are taking in money. If you do want to be a part of this, you're more than welcome to. But we had to rethink our strategy, right? So I'll be candid with you guys. We were pulling people in per project, and it just didn't make any sense. So what we've decided to do, and what we have been doing with a lot of people that have been putting our money in with us, is that everybody will be on a year term. So we'll set the pricing, which is usually everybody's on like a 10% interest. You push out into a year, and then after that year's up, you can either take all your money back out, or you can reinvest, or you can whatever works for you. If you want to take out 50,000, 100,000. Take it all out. It doesn't make a difference. Whatever you want to do, we're fine with it. But the bigger issue is it creates a pocket for you, right? So at the end of the day, with us getting all these homes, a lot of these homes we are going to put back onto the market. Some of them we are going to start to keep for the bigger cap rates, right? So at the end of the day, there's no way you'll get on the ground floor of a property like Florence, right? There's no investor that's going to tell you, hey, I'll let you in on the ground floor of Florence, because it's a cash cow. But if you invest with us, you do have opportunity to get in on Florence, to get in on Superior, to get in on these properties that at the end of the day, you'll never find. Let's be realistic. If you didn't know us and me and Adam decided to sell Florence, you wouldn't see it till it hit Zillow, and it would hit Zillow for 1.7, 1.8. And you'd be like, damn, that's a lot of money for a property in Southeast San Diego. And then you go, wow, this thing has 14 doors. That's crazy. That's probably a good deal. But let's be realistic. Nobody's putting $140,000, $150,000 down to grab it, because some investor is just going to come, pick it up cash, use it as a cash cow for 10 years, and turn around and sell it. So you actually get a chance to get on the ground floor of some of these deals that we're going to find all the time. Let's be realistic. Me and Adam have a system. We have cold callers with Win-Win that you guys are going to partner with us. We have a site that we're actively managing and investing in and getting calls every day. We just got a call today about another property that we're looking at picking up. That's another great deal that's going to be a sweet, easy deal for us. Pretty much probably the easiest one we got so far. But they're coming in every day. So at the end of the day, it's like, you're more than welcome to jump in and get on the ground floor, or you're more than welcome to just work with us. Right at the end of the day, this is a learning experience. Right, until I get rich, until I don't have enough time, until I don't have enough. I have more money than I have time. I'm willing to help, right? But eventually, me and Adam's going to get to a point where we're going to be like, and Josh and everybody else is going to get to a point where it's like, look, you could have been on these calls earlier in the year, but you took your time, or you wanted to wait, and now it's a little too late. So at the end of the day, I would say, hey, if you're looking to do some long term investing, or if you're looking to get into flipping, if you're looking to get into this, just give us a call. Let's talk. Let's figure it out, and we'll help you. I mean, and at the end of the day, Adam's a good. We're all good people. I come from a military background. Adam's a lawyer, so at the end of the day, we're all stand up people. If anybody knows me, I'm sure there's people on this call that know me for real. I'm a stand up guy. I'm always gonna tell you the truth. You might not like the truth, but I'm gonna give you the truth. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna be millionaires here soon. So it's either join us or wave to us later on. But it's coming.
Definitely.
All right, Josh, Kitty, anything before I open up for questions?
I think I should kind of run through the last part of the of executing the deal. I don't think I mentioned escrow and the process when you kind of go to the seller. So let me kind of cover that really quickly. Of course, like we mentioned earlier, you will make that cold call and you will take that seller through the conversation, and you will get them to ask them what they're looking to sell. And of course, we can maybe have another seminar or another meeting where I can kind of go into more detail about what you might say to the seller. But you want to eventually end up going to the house. And when you go to the house, you want to take your repair estimator with you as well. These are tools that you can get off of free sites like BiggerPockets or the internet, that type of thing. You want to have a repair estimator, a sheet, a checklist of things that you might check off as you tour the home with the seller. Because like I said, you want to do your homework and you want to make sure you have everything accounted for your end buyer. So you'll do that. I like to take a video recording as well versus pictures, because you might end up taking 100 pictures of a home. It's easier to take a video,
right,
so that you can also send that to an end buyer. But you go through that process, and hopefully everything goes well, and you have already created a rapport with the seller, and he or she signs the purchase of sale agreement. Once that is signed, you take that to escrow and you open escrow. Typically, for me, how I would like to do it in the past, if you do not have the money, you want to have your end buyer put up the earnest money deposit into escrow. This is something that you and the seller should have negotiated. It shouldn't be a large amount. It should be no more than $10,000. So let's call it $5,000. Let's say you and the seller agreed to give them $5,000 of earnest money. That will be put in the escrow. And then as the escrow is doing the title search and you're finalizing everything with the sale, Adam, I'm not too sure how many days you may put in that contract that you drafted for people, but it's usually going to be from 30 to 90 days, 30 to 60 days, something like that. So at the end of that time period, or any time within that time period, your end buyer is going to deposit the rest of the purchase price to escrow. The seller gets the rest of their money. The end buyer gets the home, and then escrow sends you your money in the middle. And then that's pretty much how you execute the deal for the agency. Just wanted to make sure I kind of gave the full picture to the backside of that transaction.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. And then, one thing you mentioned there in terms of wanting to get a sense of repairs and what it might cost to rehab, that's definitely something Matt and his team can help with, giving some construction cost estimates and all that too. So thank you again, Josh and Kenny, for being on. Let's open up for questions. Anybody have questions for us? We have a few minutes. You can unmute yourself and ask your question and then go back on mute.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
I have
how
a
are you?
question.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, actually. I'm new at this. It seems like everything that I'm wondering about and wanting to learn is just manifesting and coming into place. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys today. Thank you for your time. I'm wondering how, team building will go. Are you open to having meetings like this and inviting us to watch the steps as, as mentors for us? Because I'm a busy person, but I need to make the moves that I need to make. So being able to see firsthand how you operate and how I can be a part of this and monetize everything, I'm wondering how you work as a team, maybe how you work now, or if that's going to be something different in the future.
Sure. Josh, before you take this one, let me just quickly say, well, we're always here to, we're holding webinars. We've held a couple already about Florence, and we've invited some people out to tour Florence with us. We'll probably be doing that again in the next couple of weeks. But, we're always here as resources. So I'll put my email and my phone number in the chat, so you can reach out in the future. Josh, what about, the team building
Okay.
side for win-win?
Okay, so for win-win, basically what we're doing is we're getting you your username and your password, so you'll have access to everything we have access to. Again, you'll have our contact information, and you could contact us directly. And we're open to any questions you may have. And we're really just getting started. We're actually a grassroots business right now, just getting started by adding team members. We've been in the game for about 2 years, but now acquiring these team members, I've been sending out links that you can study from, and just some of the study material that I use myself on my journey. But as we network, we met up with Adam and Matt, and they already have some things going. So the way I like to work is I like to work smarter, not harder. So they already have a platform. So what I would do is just advise you guys to kind of hop on some of the webinars that we got going. We'll definitely hop on also and talk more about our platform and how we got everything running. But for us, you guys could directly contact us for any questions you may have. You have access to our back office, so you have access to any information you may need via properties or comps or anything like that via the back office. But if you're ever confused about, okay, how can I work this way, or I have a question with this call or this motivated seller, you can always contact us directly, and we'll walk you through the process.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so with the win-win solutions and working with you all, will it be more of a push to become a legal realtor or attorney or something like that? Or can we just kind of be background people like, hey, I just want to make my money. I'm finding these properties. I know these communities. Or what would you say the format is primarily?
It's very loose. It's more of a what I tell people when I talk to people and set them up with their membership is basically this is 100, not 100. I'll say at least 90% on you. Yeah. Just like we look for motivated sellers, motivated buyers, we're looking for motivated teammates also. People who are motivated to get out there and really test the waters in real estate. It's easy to learn about something, hear about something, and think it sounds good to pursue it, but it's another thing to actually pursue it and be motivated to go and do it. So I would motivate you to come out and actually make those calls and engage with your list, and really as wholesalers you may not ever need to get a real estate license because this is all direct sales. So you're dealing with the seller directly and you're dealing with the buyer directly. So once it gets to that point and you kind of understand the flow of things, really the sky's the limit, and not even that. Matt has me fired up about these numbers and just the profit margins, and that's really what is attainable, with these deals. And what I like to think of is as wholesaling is like ground floor. So you need your scouts out there to go look for the potential properties that are good deals, and then from there you need your buyers, your flippers, and then your end buyers at the end of the day, selling it at market value. So what I would encourage you to do and motivate you to do is take your steps. Once you do get your first contract, look into actually purchasing a house with your profit, not just spending it, right? So you want to put your money back into the market, maybe buy yourself a mobile home, buy yourself some land. From there you build off of that and maybe build on that land, or fix up your mobile home to the point where you can flip it and get your first flip, because the profit margins only get bigger as you go up. So as a wholesaler, you have like it's kind of, I won't say a capped profit margin, but it increases as you start fixing and flipping, right? So I would encourage you to take those steps into making bigger profit margins. But I don't think it's necessary to attain a real estate license or anything like that, unless that's something you really want to do, and you study towards, and you have something planned for it. But really, my steps as a wholesaler and as a scout right now is to make those steps up to being a flipper, then a real estate investor, and and just playing with real estate just in all its different ways, because there's several different strategies going about real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just say the goal.
I will say this though. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Watson. Real quick, I'll just add in that we also, me and Adam also are starting a brokerage, or we have a brokerage kind of worked out. So at the end of the day, even if you guys are looking at doing something, again, reach out to us. We can help you guys. We can get you guys in the right place. Because if you're going to take, if you are going to take this serious, why not get paid twice, right? Why not get paid as the middleman? Why not get paid as the agent? So I would say, if you can do it, if it's not too hard, I would always, say, as much money as you can get out the deal, jump on it. For one, for two, I would say this, that if you're looking for, when you start doing these deals, if you're looking for anything, you can always invest with us, right? Because at the end of the day, if you sell the deal to us, we'll let you jump in on an investment side and kind of invest with us into the deal to even make more money back on the back end. So there's a bunch of things, there's a bunch of ways you can play it, but again, that's the reason why we're here for a lot of you guys, is so that we can help you guys push this deal through easier, smoother, show you the right way, show you which way to go. To help you work it. Now, again, if you guys get to the point where you're throwing a million deals, we might not be able to help you with every single one. But we're gonna definitely be able to point you in the right direction, because I know a lot of flippers, we know a lot of wholesalers. So we can always put you somewhere with somebody else, or figure it out. So we're gonna put you in the right direction. I'll just say that.
All right. Next question. Nobody? Anybody have a question?
No need to be shy.
This is the time. This is the time to ask those questions.
I'm about to say, if you're gonna ask, please ask now, because if somebody else is gonna charge you for this.
Really?
So you might as well get it all for free.
Adam.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just want to know. I just have a question. So, as far as knowing, like the zoning ordinance and everything like that, is that only just for San Diego? Can you go out your bounds, like in other states or other cities, or is it just only San Diego?
No, I can look at the zoning for anywhere. A lot of the zoning, even the city, even the county of San Diego, there's about 19 different jurisdictions between the city of San Diego, the county, La Mesa, El Cajon, Chula Vista, Imperial Beach, and they all have their different zoning, but they still have a lot of similarities. They still have a lot of the same things you're looking for with the residential multifamily versus the residential single family. And then the states, they have their laws that oversee everything. So California, one of the reasons why San Diego is very unique and the state of California is unique versus other markets is because they're at the forefront of the ADU laws and the micro unit laws. Not a lot of other states even allow for people to convert their garage into a studio, where San Diego and the state of California, they're pushing for that, and they want to expedite that process to allow people to do that more and more. So if you have zoning issues and questions that come up in other areas, I can help you with that and kind of walk you through it.
And then to piggyback on that, on the other side of that, if you were looking to do a traditional wholesale, if you were dealing with a property that did not fit the dimensions that Matt and Adam are looking for, they can also help you with, and if out of state, depending on the location, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but they can also help you find an end buyer if it's not in San Diego or California. They have end buyers across the nation, as do we as well. Folks that are signed up on our platform, we can help them find end buyers too for a traditional wholesale deal if it doesn't match the requirements that these guys are looking for.
Yeah, good point. We have people all over the place, and I know Matt. Go ahead. I know you're about to say something right there, but I know people have investors that are all over the place too.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say at the end of the day, I got people we got people everywhere. I actually invest in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Texas, and a couple other places we're looking to get into. So it's just not San Diego. It is a lot of places. The thing I will say is San Diego is where you become a millionaire. San Diego is where we're gonna become rich. So I would highly suggest you start in San Diego. Learn San Diego, especially if you're in San Diego, right? If you're in San Diego, learn San Diego. If you're in Dallas, learn Dallas. If you're in your city, learn your city, as well as everywhere else, as well as where the money's at. But I would just say San Diego is definitely a market that's going to pop. And when the moratorium lifts, when people start being able to kick people out the houses easier, there's going to be a ton of influx of houses that are going to come and it's going to be ripe for the pickings, and the investors will come in easily. So, just be ready for it.
Matt,
in that situation.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say when that does come, I'd love to get on another one of these Zoom calls and talk to you about how I've been working on subject to with the foreclosure property as well, because that's a landmine definitely when that moratorium lifts, and people will be getting unfortunately, because of the circumstance being put out of their home. That's another way that you can create a win-win situation and a solution to help somebody out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Adam, thanks. So, Matt Gooden here. I didn't get a chance to do an introduction at the beginning, so I'll just do a quick introduction. Matt Gooden, president of Gooden Investments LLC. I've been in real estate for over a decade. And the comment I had, is, more geared towards our new investors, right, or new, individuals, coming into real estate who might be hearing all the things that are going on in this meeting, and some of it may go over your head, some of it may sound, out of reach. I just kind of want to reinforce that your journey in real estate kind of begins with the first step, whether that's your first step as either as a wholesaler, as an investor, as a single family owner, right? That's how I began my journey in real estate in the single family market. Right, learning that market, and graduating that market, and becoming an investor on different scales. But overall, I just kind of want to just that vote of confidence, right? You're hearing a lot of things, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of things going on, right? But don't let this stuff go over your head, right? Real estate, as with anything, just begins with that first step. Whether it's investing, kind of Matt Williams kind of talked about it, right? Whether it's I got a few thousand in my bank account, right? And, I'm getting 0.03% interest, right? And I want to do something with this, but I might not have the 5%, 15, 20% required to go get a property or whatever. How can I get involved in real estate? And this may be one of those arenas where, if you have some funds available and you're just not ready to take that leap, right? Best place to do it is with individuals who are in that space, right? Build that relationship, build that trust, and then learn and grow, right? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to add that to our discourse.
Thanks, Matt.
No. Let Matt keep going. So
I know. He was spitting. Hey, that guy knows something, because really that's basically how Win-Win came about, was just trying to create a platform so we could get our feet wet. A lot of people get this information off of social media. We're getting it off of YouTube. We're learning about it. We understand the profit margins, and we know we want to buy back our block. We know we want to get involved in the community, but it's like, where do I start? And then you start going into the information, and it's this strategy, that strategy, and it's like, how do I go about it? So, that's where, Win-Win comes in. That's where Adam and Matt comes in. That's where, these mentors all around us come in, just to find out, okay, what's next, and really just
exactly.
We don't know it all either, because, like we were just talking about, a lot of these laws are brand new and just coming into play. So we're, in a sense, learning together, but, we're doing this as a team and building it as a team, because that's going to be the way to have that the most impact, the most positive impact, and having that common goal of not only putting money in our pockets, but bettering our communities, adding to the housing crisis and trying to add solutions there. There's a lot of different ways that this benefits more than just us. So it's definitely exciting to be working with this team and to be putting this together.
And I'm gonna say this: Matt's over there being real nonchalant about it, but I've never shook that man's hand, and he handed me a check for $160,000. So I'll put it like this: he knows what he's doing exactly. You know what I mean? And a couple of days ago, I think he gave me another one for 45. So
okay.
So
okay.
I'll say it like this: Matt's over there being real nonchalant about everything, but he's the man right there. No, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie to you. When you see it, he knows what he sees, right? He understands that the value added process. He understands what we're trying to do. And Matt's in for the long term. I mean, at the end of the day, look, I haven't shook his hand yet, but he's already my brother. Like, trust me. I mean, we're good. We're all the way good. So, once you see the value add, once you understand that there's a good team in place, and I'm not gonna lie, let's be realistic. I was doing this. I've been flipping for a while, but once I met Adam, it all made sense, right? Adam is kind of the glue that's gonna stick all this together, because whenever you can say, hey, I can talk to a reliable, good brother that's an attorney that's gonna have my best interest at heart. And again, I've actually said some things to Adam, and Adam is really ethical. He's gonna do it the right way, and I can appreciate that. He's gonna keep me on the right track, which I know I might need sometimes.
You don't need that much help. You don't need that much.
Trust me. Trust me. I care about everybody. And at the end of the day, the other thing you got to understand is that we're also looking to do stuff in the community, right? Me and Adam been looking at doing some things to help the homeless, things like that. So this is going to be a lot bigger than just hey, can we make a couple bucks? We're literally at some point going to get down into the city and start asking, hey, how do we help combat this homeless thing? How do we help combat this housing crisis on a bigger scale? And we do have partners working with us like Veronica and a couple other people that are hopefully eventually going to get us into these grants. That's going to get us into some of these different projects that we're going to get into. My aunt's looking at some things now that we can probably get into that's going to push us or plateau us into a different scale of life. So again, I keep telling you guys, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but this is the ground floor. We're already doing really well. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm telling you, we're going to be good either way, but this is the ground floor of what's going to be pretty big in San Diego in the next couple of years.
All right. Any other questions, anybody?
I have a question.
Sure, Adriana, go ahead.
Hi. So, are you guys specifically looking for like cold callers? Because I've done that. That's not something that I'm interested in. It's like, because I know like after a while you gain people who you put on a list and they send you their properties and stuff like that. But what are you guys looking for? Just to help people, to mentor people, or are you actually looking for people to be a part of your team, like to help you flip houses or what?
So there's two parts of this, right? So this call was about there is a cold calling process, right? There is a learning process, which basically we do Zoom calls all the time, and our part of the process is basically just getting people to understand about housing, right? Me and Adam kind of realized that a lot of people don't understand the housing market. They don't understand what flips are. They don't understand how 75% of America became a millionaire by real estate, right? So we're really just trying to help. Again, if we, the other side of it is I'm good, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm on track to do well over what I've done last year, and I'll probably be up around $1 million next year. So I don't really need to do this, right? But me and Adam really care about the community. If you go to our website, we're really trying to help. We're really trying to give people the knowledge base. And we know this is how you start, right? We know this. I got family members that have been on these calls. I have friends that are on these calls right now. I know a couple of my friends are on here right now that know me, from either school or high school or college or wherever I've been at. And at the end of the day, this is really just about helping people get over that fear, right? Helping us there's a lot of us that don't understand how housing works, right? It's always like, oh man, it's too much or it's that big. And it's like, No, we can group together and we can go get an apartment complex. Me and Adam, me and Matt, we sit on the phone. I send them properties. I think I sent, how many have I sent you, Matt, in Oklahoma? 5 or 6. And we're looking at, hey, we're going to grab an apartment complex at some point. It's coming, you know? So at the end of the day, these are little things that if you get the right group and you only got 10,000 or 30,000 or 50,000, you know, you either you either keep it in your bank and you start dribbling off of it, and all of a sudden you get a new Mazda or you get a new couch and all that, or you put it to work, and eventually that 50,000 turns into 200, 300, 400, a million, 2 million, and you go from there. So we're just really trying to give people that game on what it takes to take a small amount of money and start to put it into places where it'll grow for you. That's really all I'm doing.
Yeah. And then I'm going to piggyback off of Matt and just say we're really looking to build community. We're looking to build a team and give people an opportunity to have an experience. Because like I was saying earlier, when I first started wholesaling or getting into real estate, I didn't know a door to walk through. I didn't have anyone opening the door. I didn't have a platform to kind of walk in. So it was just like watching a lot of videos, getting a lot of information. But how do I turn that information into something that I could actually apply? So that's what Win-Win is doing, is we're creating a platform not only to, you know, just to create calls or cold calling, but to actually get experience with dealing with vetting a motivated seller, looking at properties, being able to look at the numbers and see what numbers are worth buying or what numbers are worth negotiating, and all of that is coming with that experience. It's like literally building your track record. So once you do go out there, if you do go out there yourself and you're not, you know, part of my team or our team, you know, you kind of have experience of, okay, I know what to look for, I know what questions to ask, and you know, you're more familiar with the market after. So it's not only a cold calling center, or it's not only a place where you make cold calls, but it's a place where you could actually gain experience, and that's the biggest thing, is the experience.
And Gianna, cold calling is just one aspect of prospecting. People use other ways to find deals. So, you know, if cold calling isn't quite your thing, maybe you find it through emails, maybe you find it through, you know, your sphere of influence, you know, your contacts, your family and friends, and, you know, just finding those connections and, you know, learning about those opportunities. You can do it a lot of different ways. And I know investors and wholesalers who have found deals through a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I'll just piggyback one more time. The other reason why we're doing this, and the reason why it might have started, you know, it probably started in Black San Diego, is because at the end of the day, we all have to stick together, right? I mean, I'm sure we got a couple. I'm not just talking about just Black people. I'm talking about minority, period, right? I know we might have a couple of my Mexican or Filipino brothers on the phone, or sisters. But at the end of the day, we got to, you know, our community. When I first started trying to do housing, I tried to do it at maybe 22. I bought a first house at 22, but I didn't understand how to flip. And I looked, and I was looking for somebody to help me and trying to figure out people, and I couldn't figure out who to help me out. So it took me probably 5 or 6 years to finally find somebody that can actually give me some sort of information, and they weren't even in San Diego. So I ended up having to start my career in flipping in Atlanta, which it was a blessing, but still, you know, I couldn't start in San Diego because I couldn't find the right person. And that's a lot of the problem, is that people can't even figure out, like, hey, how do I even start, right? So we're just giving people that avenue to start, giving that people that avenue to come out and see, hey, this is what a house looks like before you start. Because, you know, I've seen people look at houses and go, oh my God, I would never buy this house. I don't care if they only want $300,000, not understanding that we're going to gut this house out and redo it. It's going to be amazing when we get done. But they don't see the vision because nobody's ever taught them how. So what we're trying to do is get people to not be scared of the vision, right? Not to be scared of, hey, this house is in, you know, like you're going to see a house and it's tore up, holes in the roof, all that. And you're looking at it going, oh, that's man, I wouldn't touch it. And I'm looking at it going, oh my God, that's beauty. That's beauty. That's a gold mine right there. I'm getting excited as soon as I see hole in the roof. Oh, that's even better. That's it. So at the end of the day, this is all about learning, teaching, and getting us to grow as a community. You know, because I look at it like this: we hold this call, and you might not be interested, but your cousin might be. You might tell your cousin about it. You might tell an uncle about it. You might tell a sister about it. 3 months from now, you might say, "Hey, I was on a call and I met this lawyer guy, and let me put you in touch with him." And all of a sudden, something might come out of that. So at the end of the day, we just hold this because you know, we want to help grow the community, and that's what we're really excited about. So.
Yeah, and let me just add, great point, Matt. So there's a saying, right? If you want to go, you know, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together, right? So I think, and this, this is from personal experience. In order to grow, you got to figure out ways to grow, right? And one of the things that I noticed just in my own journey, in my own education process, is when when you read and you learn from the people who you want to become, right? We all want to be millionaires, I imagine, in this in this forum. The major sticking point, the common denominator that came up in that education process for me was the team, right? It was a team process, right? Building your team. If you think about it in sports, right? You don't win championships without a team. Even in individual sports, right? There's a team, right? There's a coach. There's a there's a nutritionist. There's individuals in the background that all create this ecosystem that allows an individual or something to be successful. So I think I think more than anything, this is a team building process, right? And there's a value in team, and there's a value in us, right? And that's kind of, I think, hopefully that answers your question. I think that's the purpose more than anything, right? A lot of times we look at things, right? So I'll tell you, I'll give you a little snippet. A lot of times we look at things and we say, well, what can I get out of it, right? And not realizing that there's, that if you look at things that way, you're going to miss an opportunity, right? And I'll give you an example. So in my, my own kind of business and career, fundraising has been an important part of the process, right? And a lot of people have issues raising funds, right? I don't have the capital, I don't have the money. And I'll tell you a secret, a lot of the fundraising that I've done have come from people and individuals that I didn't approach them with, can you write me a check, right? You build relationships, you form, you get to know individuals, and then you never know what can happen, what can come out of just who what or whatever the case may be, right? So that's kind of hopefully my best way to answer that question that we had from that lady.
All right, maybe one more question before we wrap up. One more? No? All right, I guess if no more questions, we'll wrap up. Any final words, guys? Josh, Kenny, Matt?
I learned a lot. Very informative. Josh, do they have a way for them to contact you directly? How do you want to set it up for people to reach out to you?
Let's hear your information.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type my number in the chat, and you guys could send me text messages and just let me know if you're interested or not. I'm gonna run by our business again real quick. So we're called Win-Win Solutions. It's actually a platform that me and Kenny created, and basically what we do is we scout. We are the wholesaler, so we're out there looking for deals to get it to our end buyers, and our end buyers in form of Matt and Adam right now is our end buyers here in San Diego. There's investors all over the place, and as you heard from them, they invest in every state. So we have cities for you. So basically, when you come through us, we sign you up. It's a $30 a month fee. We're actually paying $100 for us, so you actually get 1/3 of that price, which is pretty good of a deal. And it's a way just to get your feet wet in the game, right? Because as Matt said, I said, all of us, it wasn't easy getting into find a mentor or finding information or actually finding a way to get actual experience. So basically what we're doing, we're creating a platform so you can get some experience under your belt, so you can actually talk to some sellers, see if they're motivated, vet them, look at some properties, do some comps, actually do the work needed to actually make your dreams a reality. So that's basically what we're doing here, and we'll assist you however is needed. Feel free to ask questions, and my number is going into the chat now.
Cool. Thanks, Josh.
The email as well, Josh.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. All right. On that note, Josh, Kenny, Matt Gooden, Matt Williams, thank you all for being on. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call. We will have another webinar soon. Maybe not before the holidays, but soon in the new year in 2021 at the very latest. So keep looking out for us, Home Free Consultants. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to us and find us on the internet. You can find us. I put my information in the chat. I'll do it again before we close out. But you can always reach out to us for questions, and we're looking forward to teaming up with everybody into 2021 and beyond to make things happen. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Guys. All
Have a
right.
good night, everybody.